What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Theology and Worship Podcast. Here, we exist to equip worshipers for spirit and truth worship. Today, I'm kind of continuing this leadership series that we've been talking about over the last couple weeks with a concept that I like to call leading up. Now, we know as leaders that we are supposed to lead those under us. That's why we are leaders. We're the first ones to step into the unknown and make the unknown known to others. But what about our leaders? What about that relationship? And this seems to be a tenuous relationship. In fact, I've kind of done some research here, and it looks like worship leaders' average tenure at a church is between 2 and 3 years. As I look at my leadership journey and what I've been able to accomplish, man, you can't accomplish a lot in 2 or 3 years. That's like the time that it takes just to establish and set a culture. And so really, worship leaders, this is kind of an epidemic here. Worship leaders are going from place to place, church to church, bouncing around, and they're not able to build anything that lasts. And I look at churches who have a long tenured worship staff, and those are the churches that are doing things and putting out creative content and writing content for their churches and building a culture that is something to be admired and esteemed to. And so why is the worship leader tenure so short? And I think that the deal here is that we are right-brained, creative types who wear our hearts on our sleeves, and I'm not sure we know how to affect change while maintaining our character. In fact, what I see happen often is that a worship leader will have a problem with his or her leader, and they bottle that up, try and deal with it, and then finally just kind of let it loose. And so I think there's something to be said about this concept of how do you lead those who are leading you effectively in a way that is honoring to them, in a way that is respecting what they've been able to accomplish in that organization, and in a way that actually affects change. And I call this leading up. The first point here is that we need to build a bridge of trust to our leaders. And I think that the ball is in the worship leader's court. And the reason why I think that is because your leader has already entrusted you with the responsibility of leading the team that he or she has given you. And so they've already taken the first step of trust. And so now the next step is in our court. So how do we build this bridge of trust that creates a space for us to have our voices be heard? Number one is this: ask for criticism. Open the door to criticism. This is scary. This is terrifying for creative because every day we lay our hearts out there to be exposed to all, judged by all, and to be found wanting or found to be in use. And so what do? We need to ask for criticism. We need to open that door. We need to ask, how am I doing from your perspective? And give them time to think about it. Ask, how can I do better? How can I be a better leader? How can I serve the vision of this house more? And this establishes trust and a real relationship for you to eventually provide criticism as well. This lets your leader know that you don't have an agenda besides making everything better. You're not trying to push your vision, but you're there to honor his or her vision, which gives them trust, a trust deposit, and it leads to being able to take more risks. I know when I'm asking my boss, hey, how are we doing? How are things? How's the worship culture? Are you vibing with the song selection? That he is actually more willing to let me take risks. And, he has a saying, I'll try anything once. And so I want to lean into those moments. So number one, ask for criticism. Open up that door. Number two, employ course correction. If you can't take criticism, then you're not ready to ask for it. If when you are, receive a critique, it just empties your world, just rocks you and forces you down low, then, maybe you're not ready to take it. So I would ask God, hey, help my heart to get there, because when you get course correction, when you get critique, you need to be able to employ it and employ it quickly. In fact, I like to ask my pastor when asking for criticism, which is something I try and do with some regularity, because it's awkward for them, right? To hey, I've got something I want to talk to you about. When you speak in between songs or whatever the situation is, I don't want to put him in that situation. So I'm actually just going to ask him, hey, how do we do this week? How did I do this week? Is there anything that you see? And when he begins to respond, I say, you know what? Hold on. Let me get out my phone. I want to take notes on this. I want to get it right. I want to get the specific wording right. And I say things like, hey, I'm going to start working on that right now. I try and look past the criticism and look at the heart of it. I mean, here's the point. Your senior leader, your pastor has you in that position because he or she trusts you to accomplish this responsibility. So see the heart behind the criticism. I mean, he or she is really just trying to make you a better leader and to help the organization. I love a language that I like to use with my pastor. Is there anything we can fine tune this weekend? And so it kind of goes in there with saying, hey, we did a great job. We gave our best, but everything can always get better. Is there anything we can fine tune? And then you want to employ that immediately. You want to include it on your report. Hey, that criticism that you gave, man, received. Here's how we employed change this week. That is just going to go so far in building a bridge of trust. Point number 3 is to be wise with the inclusion. Because here's the deal. If you're doing 1 and 2, you're asking for criticism, you're taking it like a champ, and you're employing course correction quickly, then you're going to notice that you are sitting at bigger tables with bigger leaders, and you are able to affect more change. But here's the deal. You're not ready to have a seat at the table until you've learned to be at the table. When you are interfacing with leaders who have to make big decisions for their organization, you got to understand that we talk about money, attendance, race, dress code, correction of volunteers and team and staff, and we talk about moral failures. So we need to learn how to handle those big issues. One of the things I love to say to any leaders under me is if you can learn to separate your emotion from your viewpoint, it is going to go so far for your leadership journey. I'm not saying to have no emotion. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying if you can learn to deliver your viewpoint void of emotion, or separated from emotion is probably a better way to say it, then your viewpoint is going to come out more intelligible, calculated, strategic. It's going to come out the way that you want it. It's also going to invite pushback because if you're giving your viewpoint in an emotional way, what that says to a conversation is pushback is not welcome here. And you'll see that your leadership scope will be decreased and decreased. Be careful of shotgun language. Be careful of just jumping straight to no or a heart of resistance. I see this in creative people all the time, man, because there are hills we need to die on. And we believe that God has called us to a specific purpose and then he's anointed us for a specific reason. And so we can come in ready to fight sometimes, and we can come in with the heart of resistance. It's just like, no, I don't want to do less songs. No, I'm not open to cutting that song. No, I'm not open to this, that, or the other. And I think that if you can actually change your heart on that and saying things like, what do you mean by that? Or can you explain that a little bit more? It allows us to get more information. And I've learned in my leadership journey that saying yes can take you so much farther than saying no can. If you can say yes, if you can bend to your leadership and give in specific areas, it's going to allow you to sit at bigger tables where you can affect change on the very thing that you're like, I want to say no about this so bad. You will be able to affect change eventually. And the tenure of worship leader will go from 2 to 5 to 10 to 15 years where you're actually sitting at executive level leadership tables, able to make decisions about the organization that you would have never been able to even touch had you not been able to learn these things in year 1 and 2. I like to disagree well when I'm included in the table. I like to say things like, that's an interesting idea, and I'm totally willing to explore that. That kind of language says, hey, I don't necessarily agree with this, but I'm willing to yield to your leadership in order to give this a try. And then ask a lot of questions to get to the root of why that change is being requested. Pray, and ask God, when do I submit? When do I advocate? When do I push forward? When do I need to bite my tongue? I want to get super application here too. I think that in meetings, sometimes something might spike our adrenaline. Something might kind of get our blood flowing. And when your adrenaline starts flowing, your body is saying that you need to fight or flight. And so I think as creatives, we either want to lean in that moment and we can tend to get aggressive or shaky or jittery, or we're like, get me out of here, or we shut down, we get quiet, we can't move. And what's happening is your body is telling you that this adrenaline rush to the back of your head, it's telling you that you need to be on edge, that you need to defend yourself. But being a leader and being at that table, I just know I'm in a safe place here. I'm in a safe place. So I need to tell my mind, hey, I don't need this adrenaline right now. I need to think clearly. And so I've learned a few things that just really help me. And one thing that I literally do in meetings sometimes is just these leg muscle exercises. And this is going to be helpful for whoever you are, whatever sphere of leadership you find yourself in. If you feel that adrenaline start pumping and hey, I don't need this. This is just going to make things worse. Then just flex your left calf, then your right calf, then your left calf, then your right calf, and just keep doing that. And what you're telling your body is, I don't need that blood to rush to the back of my head. I need that blood in my legs right now. And so you're tricking your body into saying, I don't need that adrenaline. I do not need to fight or flight right now. I actually need to lean in, think clearly, and respond with that emotion. I think just that simple trick has helped me in so many meetings to trick my body. And hey, God is using something just even as simple as that to include me at different tables and different conversations where I can affect real change. Hey, leaders, I just want to see you guys have a long tenure where you're at. I believe that in staying power is where we can build something really special. So build that bridge of trust, ask for criticism, employ course correction, and then when you have the opportunity to be included in the conversation where you can affect real change, man, do it well.